there, readers. Welcome back to the Reader's Garden. So here's our plan for day 2. We're going to start out by doing our new concept review. Then we'll head over, do some word work practice, our regular word practice and review, and then we'll finish up with connected text, reading, and writing.
Phonics connects sounds and symbols, unlocking code increasingly nimble, like wings for words. It'll lift you high with every sound. You soar, you fly.
So let's get started with our new concept review. Hello, readers, and hello, all my letters here. Well, not all my letters, but all of my certain type of letter. What type of letter do we have over here? Well, a lot of them are red, that's true, but we have consonants? No, these are vowels. We have all the vowels that we've been talking about. We have our A, our I, our O, our U, and our E, and they're in the order that we've talked about them so far. When we see these letters in the alphabet, we see them in order of A, E, I, O, and U. But we can talk about all these letters because we know a lot about them. Let's sign them. The short A sound is A, and we can sign the letter A. A, A, A. The short I sound is I, and let's sign the I, I. The short O sound is A, and we can sign A, A, A. The short U sound is and the short E sound is and we can sign e. We can hear the short A sound in the beginning of words like astronaut and apple. Astronaut, apple. Sometimes we hear the short A sound in the beginning of words, like the blue word ask and the teal word at. Sometimes we hear the short A in the middle of longer words, like the blue word blast and the green word grasp. Let's sound out that top word. B-l-a-s-t. Blast. Sometimes the short A makes a nasalized A sound when it comes before the letter M or before the letter N. We hear that nasalized A sound in the word jam or the word ants. We also hear it in the name Andrea. We hear that nasalized A sound in lots of words, including the word lamp or the word plant. Let's sound out that word plant. That's that teal word down at the bottom. P-l-a-n-t, plant. We can hear that short I sound in the beginning of the word inchworm. Inchworm. We also hear it in the beginning of the word itch. Itch. Sometimes the short I comes in the beginning of words, like the words in and the word if. And sometimes we see the short I in the middle of words, like that blue word at the top, sprint, or the teal word at the bottom, twist. Let's sound out twist together. T-w-i-s-t, twist. We can hear the short O sound, the ah sound in the beginning of the word otter, otter, and the beginning of the word octopus, octopus. Sometimes the short O comes in the beginning of words, like in the beginning of the word on and the beginning of the word off. Sometimes the short O comes in the middle of longer words, like in the middle of the word stomp or the middle of the word frost. Let's sound out frost together. F-r-o-s-t, frost. We can hear the short U sound in the beginning of the word umbrella, umbrella. We also can hear it in the beginning of the word up, up. Sometimes we see that short U in the beginning of words, like in the beginning of the word up and the beginning of the word us. And sometimes we see the short U inside longer words, like the blue word that says slump and the teal word that says scrub. Let's sound out scrub together. S-c-r-u-b. Scrub. Scrub. And that would be like scrubbing with a bar of soap. We can hear that short E sound in the beginning of the word elephant, elephant, and the beginning of the word elf, elf. Sometimes we see the short E in the beginning of words, like in the beginning of the word end and the beginning of the word epi, like an EpiPen that someone might have to carry around if they're allergic to something. Epi. We also sometimes see that short E in longer words, like the blue word up top that says blend and the teal word down here that says swept. Let's sound out swept together. Swept. Swept. To make the short A sound, the sound, you're going to open your mouth wide, like in the picture, and be sure to turn your voice on. Your vocal cords will be buzzing, so you'll feel that buzzing in your throat. Like all of our vowels, the short A sound is a continuous sound, which means we can stretch it. The nasalized A sound is a lot like that short A sound, except we're not just pushing that air through our mouth, we're also pushing it through our nose. So you can really feel it if you say am. Am. And now imagine saying am and taking off the am. When we say the short I sound, our mouth is much more closed than when we're doing the short A. We are having some tension in the side of our cheeks right there in the corners of our mouth. And we can say When we say the sound, we have our tongue in the middle of our mouth and we can feel our vocal cords buzzing. The short O sound or the ah sound is our widest sound. Our chin is much farther down than it was with our I, and our mouth looks a lot like the letter O. Ah. So to make the sound, we open our mouth wide into an O shape and drop our chin and turn our voice on. Ah. Now can we stretch it together? Ah. When we say the short U sound, our mouth is more closed than it is with the ah. It's more up like this, To make it, it's helpful to put your hands on your belly and imagine you being pushed in the tummy just a little bit when you say It's that sound that you hear in the short U sound. Remember, it also sounds a little bit like a questioning sound. Like if you don't know the answer to something and you say, if you're saying, that's the perfect short U sound. And then when we say the short E or the sound, we have a little smile with our mouth happening. It's like a big open mouth smile, not too big, You can take your fingers and put them in the corner of your mouth gently so you feel that little bit of tension happening with those muscles there. And then you have your tongue in the middle of your mouth saying, Can you try it? Can you stretch it? Excellent. Check out our Vowel Valley. These are all of the short vowel sounds that we've been reviewing and practicing so far. You can see how much we've learned and all the different ways our mouth changes as we make these vowel sounds. Let's do all of our vowels in alphabetical order. So we're going to start with our uppercase A. Start at the top, do a slanted line down to the bottom, back up to the top, slanted line down to the bottom, and connect those two lines across. Doing an uppercase E, A-E, we do a horizontal or a vertical line down to the bottom, hop to the top, over, middle over, bottom over, A-E. I is a straight line, top to the bottom, hop to the top, line across, hop to the bottom, line across. Then O, we have our big egg, down, around, back up to the top. And our U is like a roller coaster. We start at the top, go down, 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 start to curve at the bottom, back up, and hit the top. And that's how we do all of our uppercase letters. Let's do our lowercase. To do our lowercase A, we are going to do a curve, 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 come back up, tail to the bottom. To do our lowercase E, we do a horizontal line over, curve around, and come back up. To do our lowercase I, we do a straight line with that cute little dot. To do our lowercase o, we just do a smaller little egg under that middle line to the bottom. And to do our lowercase u, we just have a smaller roller coaster ride straight back up and tail to the bottom. This is how we make all of our vowels. It's time now for us to head over for some word work.
All right, readers, now it's time for our word work mat practice. Mrs. Gardner is going to guide us to build and change words. We'll use our word work mats to help us break apart and put together letters to build a variety of words. Make sure you listen carefully. Are you ready? Let's get started.
We shall start out by making the word crust. Crust, like the crust on a pizza. Crust. Ooh, that's a long word. Crust. Very good. Now go ahead and take off the C. And what word do you have now? The word is rust. Rust. Now, how do you change rust to rest? Rust to rest. I'm going to take off that U and just slide up my E, and I get rest. Rest. Now, what happens if I take off the S and put an N in its spot? The word becomes rent. Rent. Now, how would I change rent to scent? Rent to scent. I'll need to take off that R. Now I have ent, and I'll bring up my S, and the word becomes scent. Scent. Now, if I take that P and bring it up and slot it right there, I now have spent. 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 So let's see. If I take off the S, the word becomes pent. Pent. And if I take off the P, we have ent. Let's bring up that L. What's the word now? The word is lent. Lent. How would we change lent to lend? Lend. We will need to bring our T up. Nope, our D, and we get lend. Lend. Now scoot that B up to the beginning. What's the word now? The word is blend. Blend. How do you change blend to bland? Bland. If something's bland, it tastes really boring, or it is really boring. So we'll take off that E, add an A, and it becomes bland. Bland. Okay, take off that B, please. The word is land, but let's bring the G up to the beginning. What do we get now? We get gland. Gland. You have glands all over your body. They are doing important work, especially with your different chemicals in your body. And finally, let's take that G off, and the word is land. Let's take that L off. The word is and. Take off that D. The word is an. Take off that N. The word is a. Take off that A, and we're ready for another day. Let's go do our irregular word practice and review. This is the word the. What word is this? The word the. Can you say it? The. Now let's use the in a sentence. For example, I saw the dog in the park. Now you try using the in a sentence, and if you need to, you can pause the video. All right, let's figure out how many sounds are in the word the. We're going to finger tap those sounds to mark the sounds we hear. The first sound is th. The next sound is Put them together, the. What's the first sound? Th. And the next sound? The. So I hear two sounds in the word the. Now let's look at why this word is a word that we need to know by heart. So the first part of the word is the T and the H together. Now, since we haven't learned the rule about digraphs yet, it doesn't really make sense why we're pronouncing this as th. And that's why this part of the word is temporarily irregular, and it's a part we need to know by heart. We need to know that the T and the H, when they're together, make th. Now, let's look at the vowel in the word. We see the vowel E, but it's being pronounced as as if it were a short U, which is very strange. And that's a part we always need to know by heart because that's what makes this word irregular. We are pronouncing an E as a, and we definitely need to know that part by heart. So you can see we have a for now symbol, which is the blue square with the heart in it. And then we also have a permanently irregular symbol, which is the heart. And that's the part we'll always need to know by heart because there's not really a rule for that. Now let's practice spelling the word the. We're going to do that on our arm. So I'd like you to extend your arm out. We're going to tap each of the letters in the word and then blend them together. Here we go. T-H-E, the. Make sure you do it with me if you didn't already. T-H-E, the. And that is the word the. Today we're going to learn the word I. Say it with me. I. Now let's use I in a sentence. For example, I love to read books. Now can you try using it in a sentence? Pause if you need to. Now let's figure out how many sounds are in the word I. I have a feeling this is going to be pretty quick for us to figure out. All right, let's finger tap those sounds. The first sound that we hear in the word I is I. And there's only one sound. That's right. This is a word that's made with one letter and it has one sound. So why is this an irregular word? Well, we haven't learned about the long I sound yet. So for us, it's not following that typical short letter sound pattern. But when we know that the letter I can make a long I sound or I and not just I, then that means we'll fully understand why this word sounds the way it does. All right, now let's spell this word on our arm. I think this is also going to be a pretty quick one. Ready? I. Can you do this one with me? I. And that is the word I. We're going to learn the word a. Say it with me. A. Let's use the word a in a sentence. For example, I see a cat. Now, the word a can also be pronounced a. And if we were using it in that way, we would say, I see a cat. And that's also correct. So let's figure out how many sounds are in the word a. We're going to finger tap the sounds. Again, I think this is probably going to be kind of a quick finger tap. Ready? What's the first sound we hear in A? A. And how many sounds are there? One. Let's do it together. A. And how many sounds are there? There's the one sound. So we hear the long A sound in the word A, but we also hear the schwa sound depending on how someone says it. That schwa sound is when someone says the word A as a. So I see a cat or I see a cat. Both of those pronunciations are correct, but we haven't learned the rules yet about the long A or about the schwa sound. So that's why this word is irregular to us. Now let's do some arm tapping and spell this word. Let's practice spelling the word A. Again, probably going to be pretty quick. All right, put your arm out, write that first word or the first letter, A. And blend it, A. Let's do it again, but this time let's say it as the schwa sound. Ready? A. How do we pronounce it? And that is the word A, or It's the word said. Say it with me. Said. All right, now let's use said in a sentence. For example, she said hello to her friend. Now you try using said in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds we hear in the word said. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, S. Next sound, eh. Last sound, d. Said, said. Let's do it again. S, eh, d. Said. There are 3 sounds in the word said. Now let's focus on what are the parts of the word that make this parts we need to know by heart. Now, if we look in the middle of the word, we see an A and an I, but we hear the sound eh, eh. Now, this is unexpected because those 2 letters together as a vowel team are not making the sound we'd expect. Often, if we see A and I together as a team, which is a rule we'll learn later, they make the sound A. But not today. In the word said, they're making the sound eh, as if it were a short E. And because of that unexpected part of this word, we need to learn it by heart. Now, the nice thing in this word is that it's sort of sandwiched between 2 regular sounds because we have the S making a sound we expect, S, and the D making a sound we expect, D. And that's why we need to know that little middle bit by heart because this is a word we see all the time. So the word is said. Now let's practice spelling said on our arm. Stick your arm out and we will tap out the letters. S, A, I, D. Said. Let's do it again. S, A, I, D. Said. And that is the word said. This is the word to. Today we're going to learn about why this word is an irregular word. The word is to. Can you say it with me? To. Let's use to in a sentence. For example, I go to school. Now you try using it in a sentence. Okay, so let's figure out how many sounds are in the word to. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, t. The next sound, ooh. Together, two. Let's do it again. T, oo, two. Now let's focus on why this word is irregular. Please look at the vowel sound, or the O. When we hear the sound in the word, we're hearing ooh, but it's spelled with the letter O. This is the heart part of the word because it doesn't follow the rules we've learned so far. And that's why we need to know this word by heart. The other thing that's interesting about to is there's more than one version of the word to. For example, if we're counting and we say 1, 2, 3, this is different than the number 2. So when you see T-O, we're not talking about the number 2. Now let's practice spelling this on our arms. Please stick your arm out and let's arm tap. T-O, 2. Let's do it again together. T-O, 2. And that is the word to. This is the word do, and we're going to learn why the word do is a word we need to learn by heart. Can you say the word do? Do. Now let's use do in a sentence. For example, I do my homework. Now you try using do in a sentence. So let's figure out how many sounds are in the word do. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, d. The next sound, oo. Do. Let's do it again. D, oo, do. There are 2 sounds in the word do. Now let's focus on the by heart parts. When we see the word do, we see the D is doing what we'd expect it to do. It's making the sound D, but the O is making the oo sound. And we do not expect that with our letter O when it's all by itself like that. And so that's why that's the part of this word that we need to learn by heart. This word is do. And the heart is to help us remember that it's the by heart part. Let's tap this word on our arms. D-O, do. Do it again. D-O, do. And that is the word do. This is the word of. Now let's learn together why this is a word we need to know by heart. Let's say the word of. Of. Now let's use of in a sentence. For example, I have a lot of books. I have a lot of books. Now you try using the word in a sentence. Now you try using the word of in a sentence. Now let's figure out how many sounds are in the word of. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, The next sound, v. Together, of. Let's do it again. V, of. There are 2 sounds in the word of. Now let's look at why this word is a word we need to learn by heart. There's actually 2 reasons why we need to learn it by heart. The first part is the letter O is not making an expected letter O sound. It's making the sound as if it were the letter U. So that's unexpected. And the next part that's irregular is that the letter F is making the sound V, as if it were the letter V. So that's why sometimes kids think that the word of is spelled UV, but it's not. It's spelled OF. So both parts of this word are irregular, which means we definitely need to know it by heart. Let's practice spelling it on our arm. O-F, of. Again, O-F, of. And that is the word of. The word is see. Can you say it with me? See. Now let's use the word see in a sentence. For example, I see a bird in that tree. Now, can you try using see in a sentence? Pause if you need to. All right, let's segment this word into its individual sounds using our finger tapping. What's the first word? What's the first sound? S. And what's the next sound? E. That's 2 sounds. See. Let's do it again. S, E, see. Now let's look at why this word is irregular. When we look, we see the S making the S making the S sound, which is expected. But then we see those 2 letter E's together. Now we haven't learned this spelling pattern yet, so this part of the word is temporarily irregular, or for now, a by heart part. And so when we see those 2 E's together, it's telling us to make the sound E. So we have S, E. Now let's practice tapping that out on our arm, those letters. S, E, E, C. Let's do it again. S, E, E, C. And that is the word see. Our next word we're learning is the word he. This is our new heart word, and let's say it together. He. Let's use he in a sentence. For example, he is my friend. Now you try using he in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds are in the word he. Let's finger tap those sounds. H, E, he. Do it again with me. H, E, he. There are 2 sounds in the word he. Now let's look at why this word is irregular. That first sound, the h, that's expected. The H is doing what we expect an H to do. But then we hear the E making the sound, the long sound, E. And that's a by heart part because we don't expect when we see an E by itself like that to just be making the long E sound. So that's why this is a part of the word that we need to learn by heart. In this word, the H is making h and the E is making E, that long E. All right, let's tap it out on our arms. H, E, he. Do it again. H, E, he. And that is the word he. This is the word be, and it's our new irregular word to learn. What word is this? Be. Say it with me. Be. Now let's use be in a sentence. For example, I want to be a good friend. Now you try using be in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds are in the word be. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, b. The next sound, e. Be. Let's do it again. B, e, be. There are 2 sounds in the word be. Now let's focus on what are the parts of this word that are irregular. That first part, the be, is making a regular sound. It's making b. But that e, we would expect it to be making a short e sound, but it's not. It's making a long e sound. And because that e is making a long e sound, we need to learn it by heart. So this word is be. And that heart helps us remember the part we need to learn by heart. Now let's practice spelling it on our arm. B-E, be. Again, B-E, be. And that is the word be. So we are going to be learning why the word me is a heart word. Can you say it with me? Me. Let's use me in a sentence. For example, can you help me? Now you try using me in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds are in the word me. We're going to finger tap those sounds. What's the first sound we hear? And the next sound, e. Me. Do it again. E. Me. There are 2 sounds in the word me. Now let's focus on why this word's irregular. That first letter, the M, is making an expected sound. But the next letter, that E, instead of making a short E sound, it's making a long E sound, E. And that's unexpected, so we need to learn that part by heart. So this word is me. Now let's arm tap it on our arm so we can spell it. M-E, me. Again, M-E, me. And that is the word me. We're going to learn why the word from is a word we need to know by heart. The word is from. Say it with me. From. Now let's use from in a sentence. For example, she is from a small town. Now you use from in a sentence. Now let's figure out how many sounds are in the word from. We're going to finger tap those sounds. First sound, f. Next sound, r. Next sound, Last sound, Oh, wow, there's 4 sounds in from. Let's do it again. F, r, From. Let's do it again. F, r, From. There are 4 sounds in the word from. So why is this sound, or why is this word irregular? Well, the F is making an expected sound. F, the R is making an expected sound. But that U, or not the U, the O is sounding like a U. Instead of making an ah sound, it's making an sound, as if it were a U. But it's not, it's an O. And then that M is also making an expected sound. So the part of the word from that we really need to know by heart is that the O is doing something unexpected. All right, so put that in your heart bank of words, and let's go ahead and spell it on our arm. F-R-O-M, from. Let's do it again. F-R-O-M, from. And that is the word from. This is the word look, And today we're going to learn why look is one of our heart words. So the word is look. Say it with me. Look. Let's use look in a sentence. For example, I like to look at the stars. Now you try using look in a sentence. And if you need to, pause the video. Now let's figure out how many sounds are in the word look. We're going to finger tap those sounds. What's the first sound that we hear in look? L. Next sound, last sound, k. 3 sounds, look. Let's do it again. L, k, look. Now let's focus on what is irregular about this word. The L and the K are making expected sounds, but those 2 O's together are making and we have not learned that rule yet. So therefore, we need to know that part by heart. This is making look, look. All right, so let's spell it on our arms now that we know about the specialness of this word. L-O-O-K, look. L-O-O-K, look. And I remember there was a little rhyme I had learned about this when I was little that's L-O-O-K, look, look, look. L-O-O-K, look, look, look. So perhaps that will help you remember it too. All right, that is the word look. The word is book. Say it with me, book. Now let's use book in a sentence. For example, I am reading a great book right now. Now you try using book in a sentence. Let's segment the word into its sounds and figure out how many sounds are in the word book. Let's finger tap. B, k, book. Let's do it again. B, k, book. I hear 3 sounds in the word book. Now let's look at what makes this word irregular. The B is doing an expected thing and the K is doing an expected thing, but those 2 O's together are making the sounds and we haven't learned about that yet. So that's why this word is irregular. So this word is book, book. Now let's spell it on our arms. B-O-O-K, book. Again, B-O-O-K, book. And that is the word book. And it rhymes with the word look. The word is are. Say it with me, are. Now let's use are in a sentence. For example, we are friends. Now you try using are in a sentence. Let's figure out together how many sounds are in the word are. We're going to finger tap those sounds. What's the first sound? Ah, and the next sound, Ah, are. Let's do it again. Ooh, we just sounded like a pirate. Ah, are. Now let's focus on the parts of this word that we need to learn by heart. When we look at this word and we hear this word, we hear are, but the letters are A, R, E. And we haven't really learned yet about the rule with an E at the end of a word. So we would expect this word to say air because the E is helping out that A, but that's not what's happening with this word. We pronounce this word are. So the unexpected part of this word is the E at the end because it's not doing the job that we expect it to do. So what word is this? Are. Now let's practice spelling it on our arm. A-R-E, are. Again, A-R-E, are. And that is the word are. The word is was. Say it with me, was. Now let's use was in a sentence. For example, she was at school. Now you try using this word in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds are in the word was. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, w. The next sound, the last sound, z. Was. Let's do it again. W, z, was. There are 3 sounds in the word was. Now let's focus on what makes this irregular. When we look at the first sound, we see the W, and it is making an expected sound. It's saying w. But then we get to the A and the S. The A is making the sound as if it were a U, but it's not a U, it's an A. So we need to learn that part by heart. And the Z, or the S, is making a Z sound, which we haven't learned about yet, but sometimes the S does that. So this is was. There are several parts of this word that we need to learn by heart. Let's practice spelling it on our arm. W-A-S, was. Can you do that? W-A-S, was. And this is the word was. This is the word you. You is our new heart word, and we're going to learn why this is an irregular word. So the word is you. Say it with me, you. Now let's use the word you in a sentence. For example, you are my friend. Now you try using you in a sentence. Remember, you can pause if you need to. So let's figure out how many sounds are in the word you. Let's finger tap. Y, oo, you. Again, y, oo, you. There are 2 sounds in the word you. Now let's look at what makes this word irregular. The Y is making an expected sound. It's saying y. Now let's look at the O and the U together. We hear oo, which is not what we expect from that vowel team when they're together. The O and the U together are a vowel team, but they're not making their expected vowel team sound. Instead, they're saying oo. And that's the part of this word that we need to know by heart. So we have you. And the heart helps us remember the by heart part. All right, let's spell this out on our arm. Y-O-U, you. Again, make sure you do it with me. Y-O-U, you. And that is the word you. Our new irregular word is the word what. And today we're going to learn why we need to know parts of it by heart. The word is what. Say it with me. What? Let's use what in a sentence. For example, what is your name? Now you try using what in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds are in the word what. We're going to finger tap those sounds together. The first sound, w. The next sound, last sound, t. What? Let's do it again. W, t. What? There are 3 sounds in the word what. Now let's look at what makes this word irregular. Now we have the W and the H together, and we haven't learned about that pattern yet. However, the part that makes this really irregular is that letter A. The letter A is making the short U sound. And we don't expect that. We expect the A to make the A sound, like a short A, but that's not happening in the word what. So we have the WH, which are temporarily irregular for the digraph rule we haven't learned yet, making the sound w. And then we have the A making So we need to know those parts by heart so that we can read and write this word, what. Now let's put it on our arms together. W-H-A-T, what. W-H-A-T, what. And that is the word what. Our new heart word is the word have. Have. And we're going to learn why this is an irregular word. So the word is have. Can you say it? Have. Let's use have in a sentence. For example, I have a dog. Now you try using have in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds are in the word have. Let's finger tap those sounds together. What's the first sound? Next, a, last, v. Have. Let's do it again. A, v, have. There are 3 sounds in the word have. Now let's look at what is irregular about this word. Well, we have an E at the end of this word. And the rule about E's at the end of a word is the silent E rule, which we may not have learned yet. But when we see a silent E at the end of a word, we typically expect that the first vowel that we see in that word is going to be saying its name, a long A. So we would actually expect this word to sound have, have, but it doesn't. It's have, which means the silent E is the unexpected part of this word because this word does not represent that long A sound that we would expect. So we need to learn by heart that this word have is have. Okay, now let's spell have on our arms. H-A-V-E, have. Again, H-A-V-E, have. And that is the word have. Our last stop for today is our connected text reading and writing practice. Let's head over now. We are going to be focusing on all of the short vowels that we have been practicing. So that includes a, I, ah. Nope, that's the wrong order, isn't it? I did these out of order. That's okay. This is the order we've been talking about them. A, I, ah, eh. And so that is all of our letters. In alphabetical order, it would be A, E, I, O, and U, but we have been talking about them in that order. So let's go ahead and read our first sentence. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. That's a long word there for us. And I see lots of different letters for us to focus on, lots of vowels, and our final punctuation is a period. I am best. I am best at, all right, spr. I'm going to sound that section out first. Sprints. I'm best at sprints. That's running really, really fast. When someone is a sprinter, they run really fast, usually for short distances. All right, this next sentence has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words ending in a period. And let's begin. Kim, somebody's name, often short for Kimberly. Kim had a blast. Kim had a blast at camp. Kim had a blast at camp. That meant she had a great time. When you have a blast, you're having a great time. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. Wow, that might be one of our longest. And it ends in a period. And I see 2 names right at the start. Stan and Ben. Those are 2 names. Stan and Ben have a grand. Oh, look, we can see the word and inside the word grand. Grand plan. Stan and Ben have a grand plan. Now let's read everything here. I am best at sprints. Kim had a blast at camp. Stan and Ben have a grand plan. And my grand plan is after this, we are going to go do some writing. So let's go do that.
Please make sure you have something to write with, like a pencil.
And please make sure you have something to write on, like a piece of paper, or a whiteboard will do just fine too.
The first sentence is, I have a grand plan. I have a grand plan. I have a grand plan. Period. Have you ever heard someone say that? I have a grand plan. Please write that. Make sure you pause to write so you have plenty of time, then come back and check. I have a grand plan. Period. That's something people say when they have like a big idea. Like, don't worry about this. I've got a grand plan. We are going to like make the world's biggest snowman. So don't even worry about it. Okay, the next sentence is, Stan can get the crust. Stan can get the crust. We will mark that out. Stan, someone's name, can get the crust. Period. Please write, Stan can get the crust. Pause and come back. Capital S, because this is someone's name. Stan. Stan. Can. Can rhymes with Stan. Stan can get. The, we know that word. We use it a lot. The. All right, let's sound out crust. Stan can get the crust. That makes me think about like pizza crust. Like maybe that's Stan's favorite part. Probably is. And then the last word is, do you trust me at camp? Do you trust me at camp? Let's mark it out. Do you trust, that rhymes with crust, trust me at camp? Question mark. All right, let's see. I'm going to do that in purple. Do you trust me at camp? Write that, and then let's write it together. Capital D, D-O, do you trust, trust, do you trust me at camp? And nasalized A, camp. Do you trust me at camp? That makes me think maybe someone's like wanting to light a fire and they're wanting to make sure people feel comfortable and that they're trusted. All right, let's read everything we wrote. I have a grand plan. Stan can get the crust. That almost sounds like that's the grand plan. Do you trust me at camp? Well, by golly, we have done all of our writing today. You have done a fantastic job. And you are all done. Wonderful work. Lesson complete. You did it. You are all done with this lesson.
Phonics connects sounds and symbols, Unlocking code increasingly nimble.